What's up, everybody? I am super excited about this video because I managed to get my hands on the new Gannon Buhr Cloudbreaker and I'm crazy stoked about it. Y'all already know when we review discs, I'm looking for the feel, the flight, and then I'm going to give my final thoughts. So we'll play 3 holes and I'm going to let you know what discs I'm going to compare this one to as well. But before that, I've got to get a huge shout out to Iron City Discs. Thank y'all so much for hooking me up with this. Make sure you check the link out in the description. They're going to be dropping these Wednesday when they drop on their site. And if you're in the Birmingham area and you want to check out one of the best disc golf stores in North Alabama, I'll leave the location to the store in the description as well. So again, huge shout out. Thank you to Iron City Discs. Let's try out the new Cloudbreaker. All right, so just the first look at the disc, it's absolutely gorgeous. This is in their Color Glow Horizon C-Line plastic. This is Discmania's form of their like Halo Champion type plastic, except it has some glow to it, which is really cool. I mean, it's a beautiful disc. You can tell it has that overstable rim to it. Nothing too crazy though. And then also, it does have a lot more flex than your typical Cloudbreaker does. It's an old Eagle Horizon Cloudbreaker, and you can tell it has some flex to it, but not like that type of flex. And while we're at it, we can go ahead and look at their rims, and they're pretty much identical. A Cloudbreaker is a Cloudbreaker. So we can see how this disc flies in comparison to another Cloudbreaker and even another DD3. I'm going to be throwing just a normal C-Line DD3. And then I'm also going to throw a Horizon DD3 or Cloudbreaker, because this disc is a combination of C-Line, Horizon plastic, and even a little bit of glow. So I figured we could see what a C-Line DD3 flies like, and then a Horizon Cloudbreaker or DD3. And then we can see how this one compares between the 3. I'm not gonna lie, when I was able to get this yesterday, I was so excited to throw it that I've already thrown it in a wide open soccer field and a little bit of like a head crosswind. And one of the 3 throws kind of went pretty far. I'm gonna throw a couple of backhand shots, then finish up with a forehand shot. That way we can see what this does when I'm trying to get some distance with it versus just make a placement shot. And then lastly, a forehand shot, which is probably what I'm least confident with. A little over 600 feet, way down there at the gold basket. We're gonna start off with the Cloudbreaker. Gannon Cloudbreaker. I have to specify now, I guess. Oh, that just glides so far. All right, so I threw that one pretty much flat, maybe a little bit of hyzer. We have a little bit of a tailwind, but it just kind of held that dead straight the whole time and then finished good. Let's see what the C-Line does. That one even had a little bit more height, and still I'm not sure if y'all could tell, wanted to turn a little bit. Now the old Eagle Cloudbreaker, that one had no part in wanting to turn, that's for sure. So if you don't know why this release is such a huge deal, and maybe you don't know much about Discmania or Cloudbreakers, the mold or whatever, basically the Cloudbreaker is the mold that Eagle McMahon originally helped design with Discmania. He's the one who made it famous. I mean, and that's a really cool name. How could that disc not get famous? But either way, the disc is known for being Eagle McMahon's disc. Well, we all know, now that Eagle has left and went to MVP, I think a lot of us just assumed that Cloudbreakers were now done and they wouldn't come out with any more of them. But we also all know that Gannon Buhr is having an insanely good season with Discmania. So when Discmania sent out the news that they were going to drop another Cloudbreaker, I think it just kind of took everyone by surprise, myself included. And so that is the importance and the big deal about it. And Gannon Buhr, obviously, as a bomber, can probably throw just as far as the Eagle. So it makes sense that he would have the Cloudbreaker, but I still think it just shocked everybody. There is the C-Line, and then the Gannon Cloudbreaker did go a little bit further, and then the Horizon was back there. I'm not too concerned with distance like when I'm playing the holes, but if you are wondering about how far this disc could potentially go, make sure to stick through to the end where I do the flight and like kind of field work. There was a throw on there that even shocked me. That seems pretty good, pretty straight. Oh, I thought that was it. That's definitely not it. So this is where I think you're going to see a big difference in the flights. You can tell on slide hyzer to flat, this one has the most stability. The C-line had a little bit more turn than the Gannon Cloudbreaker, but this one still went the furthest, which I think is pretty wild because it's obviously the newest too. And this one, by the way, is pretty broke in and still has crazy stability. But on this hole, it's not that purple basket, it's actually up further and around the corner on the left. It's another about 600 feet, plays uphill at the last part. You want to take a pretty big hyzer approach, that way you have another hyzer to the green. We're going to see how the Gannon Cloudbreaker flies just on a placement hyzer shot, and I think we're going to see a big difference in stability when all of these are thrown on hyzer. The Gannon Cloudbreaker. You see how it just like constantly flips and pushes? Dude, that is the people's Cloudbreaker. All right, C-line. See, that one flipped up and pushed even straighter, which should, it's more understable. Then the Horizon Eagle Cloudbreaker, this one I'm betting is going to be at least like 30 feet shorter than the other ones. Dude, it didn't even want to flip up at all. I think the hyzer shot is definitely going to show the differences in these discs the best, because you could tell the Gannon Cloudbreaker just slowly flipped the whole time and just kept pushing and gliding. The C-line DD3 kind of actually flipped up all the way to flat and then started pushing and then slowly faded out. And then the Horizon Cloudbreaker, the Eagle one, it never even got fully to flat, and it just honestly got to the ground super quick. So there's the Eagle Cloudbreaker. The other Cloudbreaker is there, about 50 feet further, and then the most understable one is all the way up there, another 50 feet further. No way that just, did y'all see the gap that just went through? Maybe you noticed, but like, even at such a low speed hyzer, this disc just wants to flip up and push. It's definitely the most glidey Cloudbreaker I've ever thrown. Man, that's what happens when you don't practice putt. About to see what they do on forehand. The goal is to throw all of these just kind of half power, slight hyzer, 130 feet away. So we'll see if we can get there. Start off with a Gannon Buhr Cloudbreaker. Oh, Jordan. All right, let's try that again without throwing a flex shot when you said you were going to throw a slight hyzer. There we go. Much better. All right, we're going to go C-line. Oh, that slipped out a little early. Still, I feel like the Gannon Buhr Cloudbreaker has a little bit more glide than even a stock C-line DD3. All right, then lastly, the Eagle Horizon Cloudbreaker. Yeah, that's mushed. That's really, really good. So you can tell on forehand, they're all pretty similar. The Horizon S-line one though, the Eagle Cloudbreaker definitely has some more stability. The C-line, I definitely early released it, but it still pushed up pretty far. I just feel like the Gannon Cloudbreaker is like the people's Cloudbreaker. In my opinion, it's the most workable Cloudbreaker that I've ever thrown, even without having to break it in. Like, my other Cloudbreakers are very broke in, and they're usable for me now, but they, out of the box though, they were not even close to usable for me. It's really far left. The Eagle one's in this hole. It's almost pin high though. Maybe? Oh no. Okay, my final thoughts on the disc. For the feel, I would give at least a 9 out of 10. The only reason it's not a 10 out of 10 is because I haven't thrown it enough to see how durable it is. And for me, if it feels like an amazing disc but it's not durable, what's the point? Flight, this thing just, it speaks for itself. Y'all can tell. On hyzer, it has a beautiful flip up and a pushing hyzer that doesn't dump too quick. On flat, it just pushes dead straight, maybe a little bit of turn, and then finishes out. And then on anhyzer, it just has a really, really nice kind of swoopy flight that pushes the whole time. I mean, out of the box, it is an absolute phenomenal disc. I think it's the most usable Cloudbreaker that they've ever made. It's like, I would call it the people's Cloudbreaker. Like, this is automatically going in the bag. It absolutely flies amazing. Like, I could not ask for a better disc to fly, honestly. it comes to the feel, the disc feels absolutely amazing. It also has a really nice glow to it that I'll throw up on the screen. It's a little bit more gummy than your typical DD3 or Cloudbreaker, but I think it flies absolutely great. It's not floppy by any means. Personally, like the grip of this one compared to the original Horizon line and the C line and the S line. I think this has the best grip and the best feel. So it's my favorite of all their DD3s or Cloudbreakers, whatever you want to call them. As far as the flight goes, you couldn't ask for a better flight. Out of the box, this thing flips up on hyzer and just pushes while flipping the whole time, but still manages to keep the hyzer finish. If you throw it flat, it's going to push dead straight, maybe a little bit of turn, and reliably finish over stable. And if you throw it on anhyzer, it's going to have a nice anhyzer S-turn type flight that just kind of coasts through the air and then starts drifting back out of it for a nice and good flight. Huge shout out again to Iron City Discs. Thank y'all so much for hooking me up with this. I'll have their website linked in the description. These discs will be up and ready for sale Wednesday, or if you're in the Birmingham area, go check them out. They're one of the best stores in North Alabama. Hope y'all enjoy the video. If you can, go try out this Cloudbreaker. It's the best Cloudbreaker they've ever made, in my opinion. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. As always, stay snappy. Love y'all. See you in the next one.